Hello and welcome back to another wrestling predictions video. This time around it's WWE Hell in a Cell. It happens this Sunday, so tomorrow on the day that I'm recording, and there's a few matches on the card, but we'll get into that shortly. First off, that one of the matches that was meant to be taking place, Roman Reigns against Rey Mysterio, actually happened on SmackDown. So if you've not seen that, I'd recommend going and checking that out. But without any further ado, let's get into the match card and my predictions for the pay-per-view. So we start with Cesaro against Rollins, and I've got Cesaro to win this one. In my opinion, he needs to win. If he loses, then what has the last few months been about? Why have they just built someone so that Roman can beat him once and then send him back to do it mid-card? Or are they actually trying to make Cesaro into a star? Rollins doesn't need the win. He's already on that same level. Maybe not as Roman, but he's on the upper echelons level. He's a main event caliber performer. Just give Cesaro the win, end the feud, move Cesaro on to someone else. Maybe move him back on to Roman. I know they probably wanting that John Cena Roman Reigns match, but Cesaro he just needs to win. He needs to win. Next, we've got a match which was set up on this week's SmackDown. Kevin Owens against Sami Zayn, and I've got Kevin Owens to win this one. The never-ending feud continues. It just never seems to end. It's going to go on until they both retire. As I said, on this week's SmackDown, KO got hit with the Nigerian nail by Commander Aziz in a tag match, with Big E being Kevin Owens' partner. And then Sami, who was on commentary for that match, ran backstage and was laughing at Kevin Owens on the monitor. I don't know why he had to run backstage to do that. I guess that's because he's cowardly and he was scared that Kevin might see him laughing. But Kevin must have seen him laughing anyway, because he then went to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville asking for them to give him Sami, and Adam Pearce said, have Sami on Sunday. So that's where we are. This is probably one of the more difficult matches to predict, I think. I've not really been following the Intercontinental title feud that closely on SmackDown, but since Owens asked for the match, is it going to be too predictable for him to get the win? Maybe, but I'm still going to go with Kevin Owens. It just seems most likely in my head. That's the only reason. Next, we've got Alexa Bliss against Shayna Baszler, and I've got Alexa Bliss to win. I'm not going to spend much time on this absolute madness. It's the creepy shenanigans match. Alexa's going to win, probably with some help from the previously mentioned creepy shenanigans. That's all I'm saying about that one. Then we've got the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship Hell in a Cell match. Bianca Belair, the champion, defending against Bayley, and I'm going to go for Bayley to win the title in this one. On paper, all the title matches that are on this pay-per-view event seem very predictable, with all three champions only quite recently winning their titles. But I do think they're going to give us a bit of a shock result. And I've got Bayley winning this mainly because I don't want either of the other challengers from the other title matches to win their matches. Next is the WWE Raw Women's Championship match between the champion Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. I've got Rhea Ripley to win and retain the title here. Please, Vince, please. If you're watching, you're probably not, but if you are, don't give the title to Charlotte. Don't give the win to Charlotte. Let Rhea keep it for a little bit longer. Let her have a decent run with the title. Put Charlotte somewhere else. Move it to SmackDown. You've probably got a draft or a superstar shake-up thing going on sometime soon. Just move Charlotte over. Give her something else to do. She doesn't need to win the title. She's had enough of them. She doesn't need it. Please give the win to Rhea. And then finally, we have the WWE title Hell in a Cell match. The last chance Hell in a Cell match, as it's being called. Bobby Lashley, the champion, against Drew McIntyre. And if Drew McIntyre loses, he cannot face Bobby Lashley for the title again. And I've got Bobby Lashley to win. Lashley and MVP, they've been one of the few good things about Raw for the past 3 to 6 months. I would say maybe even longer with the Hurt Business. And I think that's going to continue with Lashley staying as WWE champion. Drew, in my opinion, needs to have some time away from the title picture. And he needs to ask creative to stop giving him promos about historical Scottish figures, because I'm not getting behind that. It sounds stupid. Like, why is he bringing up William Wallace and Robbie Burns or whatever? Doesn't make sense. Just get back to Drew being a big badass and build him back up to challenge whoever does take the title off Lashley eventually. I've got a feeling that might be Brock Lesnar. So if this leads to a Drew McIntyre Brock Lesnar thing further down the line, then that's fine with me. Drew can beat Brock in front of a crowd like he was meant to originally, but just don't give him the win here. In terms of other wrestling this weekend, I've got a couple of shows that I'd like to point out. So we've got Pele Pro Wrestling Pushing Limits on Saturday the 12th of June. It's on Fight TV, And the main event is New Japan's Jeff Cobb against Sam Adonis, who's very recently been wrestling as El Rudo or Sam Rudo in the NWA. And that's for the Pele Pro Heavyweight Championship. That should be a great match. But there's also Ring of Honor's Mike Bennett, Fuego del Sol, who you might have seen on AEW Dark, and Impact's Jake Something challenging for the Reality of Wrestling Championship, which is currently held by Cam Cole, I want to say. I think that's his name. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Overall, I think this is going to be a very entertaining show. And then the other show that I want to point out is GCW's Outlaw Mud Show, which is also on Fight TV, also on the 12th of June. Wrestling legends in attendance are performing, at least Ricky Morton and Too Cold Scorpio, as well as current stars like Effie, Warhorse, Chris Dickinson, and Atticus Kogar. It should be an immense show, not to mention the main event bunkhouse brawl between Nick Gage and Mance Warner for the GCW World Championship, which is just going to be absolutely brutal. So if you're wanting some wrestling to watch this weekend, those are the two shows, well, three shows if you include Hell in a Cell, to watch. Please let me know your predictions for Hell in a Cell, and feel free to comment any other wrestling events that you're planning on watching this weekend too. And I'll be back with the review video of Hell in a Cell on Monday. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like button, subscribe to the channel to get all my content when it comes out, hit the notification bell to stay notified, and I'll see you next time.